Banyue is not for everyone. Now, for all the FGC folk and husbando enthusiasts, please hear me out. Banyue epitomizes what a fighting game character would look like in the lens of Zenless Zone Zero. Yet instead of just having a full-on breakdown of the character, I thought it prudent to give my perspective as someone who's interested in the character, yet has a very beginner or lower intermediate level of fighting game experience. When I was a kid, I grew up on Smash, and that was mainly it. I learned about matchups and my neutrals and combos, but outside of those bare bones skills and techniques, I'm relatively new to, well, the insane strings of combos you can input for Banyue. Well, before we get into his kit, I did want to give my 2 cents on Banyue as to ease us into why we should even care about what his kit is and what he can contribute to Zenless Zone Zero. I'm gonna say it right now so I don't bait you guys at the end of the video. Banyue does not, at raw values, output more damage than the more relevant DPS characters in the game currently, and I can only assume that he won't either against Jshoea coming in around 3 weeks. Yet for many of you who've already made it 30 seconds into this video still are at least interested in seeing what he can do at his top, might want to deeper your understanding or at least get some of the basics down of his kit and learn more about what he can contribute to the cast of variable DPS units as he can step it up and actually perform. Well, I also did want to bring up the conclusion of this video at the forefront of the character kit breakdown. Yes, Banyue might not be for everyone, but I would like to open more people up to the idea of breaking your results-based analysis. That particular referencing our very understandable human reasoning to compare Banyue and his DPS to that of other recent characters. And unfortunately, it is a fair criticism of Banyue that for how much effort you might need to put into his character, you might not get the same output as a Yidhari, Yishen, or in the near future, YSGs of the world. But in this video, I, as a much more beginner fighting game player, want to introduce to you why I've gone to enjoy my time learning Banyue. And hopefully in the next few minutes, we can help deepen your appreciation for the kit design and feel of the character, and show you that he can actually keep up with some of the best of them if we give him a little bit more effort. So much like with many other kit breakdowns, let's firstly start with Banyue's core ability. Banyue has quite the conventional core passive for a Rupture character, but first we must talk about one of Banyue's more specialized abilities called the Cancel, or in most fighting games, it's just more of an attack string continuation, where there will be moments or perfect instances in Banyue's kit where you can actually interrupt them via say a dodge parry or just an input of the next attack string and continue on with the combo. This allows for more fluidity in his kit and allows him to do really cool spammy combos like this. And let's not even forget about his biggest combo, which is the 4 special combo in his enraged state. Talking about this attack, let's move into how we can get into this enraged state. Banyue can accumulate stacks in his bar called the Wrathful Fire. Much like many other economy bars in this game, this bar is built through adrenaline consumption. Think of it like Yishen's technique bar. And there are many ways to actually build this particular bar up. But what you need to know is that for 1 point of adrenaline, or energy consumed, you get 0.5 points of fire. So for every 2 energy, it equates to 1 fire point. To get to this enraged state, you will need 120 points, which means you'll need to expend 240 adrenaline. Which definitely is a lot, by the way, but never fear, as Banyue has many ways to maintain his adrenaline and sometimes even reward you by refunding you back some adrenaline for proper gameplay. But just to conclude the big attack combo portion here, once you get 120 points of fire, you can hold down the basic to enter into the Visage of Wrath, and you'll gain these 4 dash bar stacks right under the bar here. Yet these 4 stacks don't have to be autoed, and you can manually input combos. Ideally, you even try out some of the enhanced combos for more damage and basically get them for free, as they don't cost adrenaline but mountain might points. And to reward you even further, if you do manually input combos, when you hold basic to end the Visage state, you can produce a strong hit called the Crushing Peaks before toppling mountain, like so. We'll mention them in a little bit alongside when we do a small little showcase during our team and combat section. And with the additional passive, each time you consume these up to a max of 3 stacks, you gain additional fire damage. So essentially the 4th hit of the combo and the finisher, which is called the Toppling Mountain, will benefit from all of these extra bonuses. And to wrap up the core ability, anytime you perform an EX attack or assist follow-up, Banyue will automatically gain 300 cheer force, 40% crit damage, and 40% fire shield sheer force bonus for 30 seconds and can be refreshed off of proccing either condition, which is incredibly nice for Banyue. But what's not nice is what comes after, because this is the easiest part of Banyue's kit outside of the chain and ult, which we'll get to when discussing the stun window. For now, just know that they will hit really hard and have sick animations, and will automatically turn on the status of the Visage of Wrath, so you don't have to do the charge basic as long as you have 120 fire points. What I was mentioning before was the rest of Banyue's kit, and what generally can scare people off of his quite variable attack menu. Many folks have already made references to Tekken, and as a new player to the Tekken scene, I've been researching all of these combos, and Banyue doesn't even come close, but the essence is there. With Banyue in particular, most of his combos will range from 3 to 6 inputs of either your specials, basics, and occasionally your dodge, but that's mainly for pairing, so we'll mention it further down the road. And to break down this kit into pieces, this is probably the easiest way to learn out of any guide out there. I introduce to you the Banyue skill tree. And this will help you keep track of most, if not everything you'll need to help follow along with the variable attack patterns. Because to be honest, you actually don't need to learn all of them to be effective with Banyue. You just need to know the philosophies of how to enter into his combos. And there are definitely certain attacks that are stronger or preferred for certain fights. We'll get into that right now. So let's start off by introducing Banyue's basics. But unlike every single Zenless character in the game, Banyue actually has 2 basic strings. One that he can perform with his basic attack button, and one he can perform by pressing the special button. Both of these will be a 4-hit string of attacks, yet the special string will be slightly stronger. We will be referring to the basics as BB and the special basic string as SB. Most of the time, you'll be starting off your combos by either inputting 1 or 2 SBs, followed by an EX attack, which can vary based on the combos you choose here. So let's begin with the first 1 or 2 attacks, followed by this EX special combo called the Mountain Tremor. For now, just understand that we can activate abilities by starting off with our basic strings, whether that be the BBs or SBs. I know it's a bit confusing, so remember, BBs are the basics and SBs are the specials. So in this instance, we would denote this combo as SB1, SB2, special, special, basic. Technically, you can shorthand this by only inputting 1 of the SBs or BBs, like so, or you can do the more fuller attack string by just adding in that initial first strike. With this, you can mix and match a variable of combos ranging from the BB1 and 2 into a basic special basic or a special basic special. All of these varied attacks will fall under the EX special combos and will only cost 20 adrenaline, which is quite economical. You can perform these 4 variations, which literally are all the permutations or combos you can input. So that's one big branch of Banyue's combo tree. The next part of the combo tree is the 6 input double EX combos. These will be your Mountain Tremor Wrath and Lion's Roar Wrath combos, aka you can call these 2 the Wrath combo lines. These will cost a total of 60 adrenaline to perform, so personally I wouldn't do these without the free stacks of Visage, which I mentioned earlier gives you a free full special combo. Also, this is a great place to mention that attacks, like we mentioned earlier, are cancelable. So if you find the right timing, you can input the Mountain Tremor Wrath combo by inputting the Earth Shaker, like so, and canceling. So you just get a bit of damage from the first EX special, then with the input already sent in for Mountain Tremor, it cancels the attack, like so, for a sick looking animation like this. Yet these do cost 40 more adrenaline. I would generally save them for when you're in the Visage state, in or out of the stun window. Then comes the follow-up attacks. These will be prompted after dodge counters, quick assists, assist follow-ups, basic attack immolation, which is again the charge attack that gets you into the Visage inflamed state, as well as chains and ults. You can input these same special EX combos ranging from the 4 before and follow up with the 20 adrenaline cost versions of the attacks. Before we move on to learning the follow-up combos, I just wanted to take a small break to check in with you on how you're taking this all in. Leave a comment below if these combos are getting a bit too involved, or if the tree is actually helping you to break down the different variety of attacks, then the follow-up combos from there. I just wanted to make this guide as smooth of a tutorial as possible for you. Next, let's go right back into the follow-up versions of the attacks. Firstly, let's start off with the dodge counters. Yes, you can make a simple dodge with Banyue, but more than likely you'll be wanting to perform one of the sickest moves, the Stone Parry, where Banyue turns into a statue and blocks anything that comes his way. The only way to get this dodge parry is to already be attacking. This means having an attack already input. Or you can just simply stagger a basic or special button into the dodge like so, and boom, parry. From here, you can then hold down on the basic or hold down on the special to perform a follow-up attack, and then from there go into your follow-up EX special combo, any from the menu of 4. This will be your general follow-up combo for when Banyue is already on the field or coming in from an assist, which is pretty convenient. Then Banyue also has a secret dodge combo. This one is truly for the FGC fans and really doesn't do much more output and is simply here for funsies, well, with the exception of M6. Yeah, I know, we'll get to that in a little bit. You can input a semicircle and dodge with Banyue after an EX special input or a straight dodge. From here, Banyue will actually emote with a taunt by clapping like Donkey Kong from Smash. From here, you can input a hold basic into a follow-up EX special and boom, that's the secret taunt combo. Like I mentioned earlier, less about input and more just about aesthetics and fun with this combo. Literally do it for the love of the game and for how fun it is to taunt your ethereal enemies. And to round us off, if you've seen those guides on Twitter or Reddit that showcase all the spamming of the attacks, well honestly, that's how you play Banyue. In this video so far, we've shown you the breakdown of these attacks, but once you're ready to spam your E's and mouse ones or whatever binds that are on your controller or phone, you can literally just start spamming these combos as there's no stale factor in this game. These attacks will be considered quick inputs, which is what they refer to them in the kit description, so start to learn the timings of the perfect frames of where you can input the next following EX special combos, and you'll start blasting your enemies with your fists of fury. And whew, that is actually it, folks. We made it out of the combo section. Yes, I could go through and show you each combo more in depth, but to be honest, you don't need that on your plate. As long as you have these general philosophies and technique branches memorized, you actually already know how to pilot Banyue to almost 95%. But what about build and team integrations, Josh? Well, let's get into the rest of the build guide section here. Moving into the build portion, let's start by firstly mentioning the signature that comes with our intelligent construct, the Wrathful Vadra. This signature boasts a strong 713 base attack, but more importantly, 30% HP in the advanced stat, alongside 20% crit rate when in combat, and a scalable 9% fire sheer force damage increase up to 2 stacks, each lasting 20 seconds after an EX special attack, which, of course, as you guys can tell, is very frequent. This WEngine option, alongside its other compatriots, is but a stat stick, and even though has slightly higher HP than the budget options, in my most humble opinion, the 18% total fire damage bonus does not justify grabbing a WEngine that could cost over $100 personally. So grab this if you were already prepared for it or are in need of a Rupture-based WEngine option, as others like the Jingling Birdcage or Kraken's Cradle can provide similar stat bonuses. Then with the Gorilla Wisp, the consistency with the crit rate increase is not as strong, as you can only activate an on-demand HP consumption one time out of combat, then one time on the battlefield for the duration of your first stun window. So essentially the Gorilla Wisp is just giving the HP and fire damage bonus, so you'll have to supplement the crit rate some other way. And just to cover the other budget options, personally the Puzzle or Radio Wave Journey are just not too strong of options, and the Cobalt, which is the B rank option, isn't all that good either. So just stick with the Gorilla Wisp if you are on budget and try to supplement as much crit rate as possible in the substats. Talking about the substats, let's immediately head over to the drives, and it's easy as sliding the 4-set Yunqui tails. And then if you're low on crit rate, go 2-set Woodpecker. If you have a WEngine that provides it, go into either crit damage or fire damage bonus, well, as much as you can with considerations of trying to reach 90 to 100% crit rates. As for the main stats of the drive discs, in the 4 slot, we have crit rate over crit damage, again, just as much as you need to get to around 95 to 100 crit rate. Then on the 5 slot, you can ideally prioritize fire damage bonus or HP depending on your supportive cast, and HP again on 6 slot as per the more conventional Rupture builds. Here is the infographics for Banyue, and if you liked these earlier, please visit Twitter and Discord, as I'll be posting more updated guides moving into version 2.5. with all the new content planned, and don't forget, we have a bunch of holiday giveaways and more over on our Twitch channel. So pause the video right now, swing on over by our Twitch and follow so that you can get notified when we go live. We're trying to hit 300 amazing friends each stream, well, leading up to my birthday month in February. But aside from the shilling, Banyue doesn't get the biggest shill treatment, but not that the lion concerns himself with such. Let's go through his applications a bit more, as well as his team variations right after. As you guys know, Banyue has a plethora of combos, but to be honest, the greater picture of Banyue's kit is to just get to his Visage state in order to proceed with the enhanced versions of his EX special skills, which, if you understand how his economy works and how fast he can actually stack up fire at the highest speed of his kit, Banyue can actually slide a few of his top lane mountains during a whole non-stun into stun window. And here's a showcase of just that. First, we start off with the setup. When we do VOD reviews on Twitch, you know how much I emphasize setting up earlier or pre-fight to help you hit critical mass faster. For this fight in particular, the stun state will come fast, so ideally do not start off in the Visage, but use his inflamed basic charge attack before the fight to get under 120 fire points. Then enter Visage with the chain attack during the stun window. Then from here, it's about combos, and Dylan and Lucia set up until the first stun. Shown here, we can start by initiating the stun with Dylan's EX into one fast chain of Banyue. Cancel, as the chain will activate the Visage state and allow yourself to start off with one of the enhanced Wrath combos. Here I showcase the One's Path and Lion's Roar combo. You can actually cancel this again to input another Dylan Quick EX to get a second Banyue chain. From here, we have 2 stacks of Banyue instead of just using the rest for top lane mountain. Consider the additional passive that allows us to stack up the points of Mountain's Might. Here, why not input the last 2 might points into the ultimate? Yep, the ultimate, as the damage multiplier will be higher, and you can get that full bonus from the initial 2 that you spent before the chain cancel. Then cancel that with the Dylan chain to ult conversion. Then to end the first chain combo, you can Crushing Peaks and Top Lane Mountain. Absolutely cinema here, folks. Now, there are going to be many other creators who can much better keep these lines of bonuses, or who have theoretically the best or the most fullest stun window. And because of that, I do advise you guys to watch other creators' guides. But this line already here gives you a great idea on how his kit will flow through the stun window, as well as what it should take to maintain its bonuses as consistently through said stun window. Now, here are my go-to teams that I've tested, and boy, have they been fun. And of course, chat always has better ideas than I do, and the Orphe ladder combo was quite effective. However, understand that the bonuses you'd be giving to Banyue specifically aren't as strong, so the damage between Lighter and Orphe do get quite strong, so the output of the team is not reflective of what Banyue is individually outputting comparatively to other teams that focus on Rupture-based supporting. Yet aside from that, even at the budget level, because Banyue is such an on-field presence, it really is up to how well you can pilot him and spam your way to victory. Even with budget teams, he is clearing comfortably, and even with the lowest of the low investments, I've gone 20 to 30k clears with budget options and team variations that, funny enough, can perform quite well with the likes of, say, Pulchra being an off-field aftershock stunner. She honestly is such a superstar. But to wrap up the general kit before giving my more final conclusions, let's talk Mindscapes. If you're a robo lover and really want to vertically invest, the M1 grants the EX special single cast ability a new extra debuff that reduces enemies' fire res by 10% for 30 seconds. With any of your quick casts or follow-up EX specials, you get 10% sheer force bonus, and Crushing Peaks, which is what you might use to cancel the Visage state in the stun, will extend said stun duration by 2 seconds, potentially giving you a whole new line to fit in said Crushing Peaks. Honestly, just make the stun window more convenient for you, but if you can plan the stun window like I did earlier, then you shouldn't have to worry. M2 grants an additional 15% increase crit damage and fire damage bonus from the core. Then, when in the Visage state, you can regain 5 additional adrenaline each time you consume Mountain's Might, which makes flowing into your next build-up very convenient. M3 and M5 are skill increases as per the usual, and M4 increases the damage of Banyue's stronger EX and the basic hold skills of toppling and crushing by 30%, which is probably the larger increase to damage so far here. The M6 will grant Banyue a state called the Vidyara, which will gift an additional 8% fire damage bonus. It's pretty tame. but the Crushing Peaks will deal 600% of Banye's sheer force to an enemy in an AoE. You can either enter the state from the dodge battle cry, which is again the taunt ability that I mentioned earlier, or just from any EX special, which is obviously way more convenient. In conclusion, Banye's Mindscapes are literally percentages lower than that of more relevant DPS characters. When it comes to comparing characters, as I stated before, I tend to not want to compare the actual feel and techniques of the kits, but when it comes to something of higher monetary value, like Mindscapes, I'm generally going to have to give these a hard pass as far as suggestions for higher vertical investment. But folks, to wrap this video up, I know this video was a little bit more serious than my previous guide videos, but after having gone through much of Banye's kit and his applications, all I can ask for from you is a deeper appreciation of his kit. As my title generally speaks, Banyue is not the best unit. Banyue is not the highest DPS character in the game, and yes, for how much work you have to put in with mashing buttons to get a fraction of the results of others who would only press their button 2 or 3 times, to many, that's frustrating. But I highly suggest that you guys trial him out in the new event, or even just try to lab him for 10 minutes, and you might just feel the spark that every FGC player has had in their respective games. The combos, the speed, and the animations, at least to me, when I think back on some of the strongest units in video games that I have used, I never remember them as the unit that was 200% better than X or Y, or their performance in Z stage was 120% faster in clears. What I remember are the sick attacks and how these attacks felt to me. And boy, oh boy, if you get your hands on Banyue and even learn the basics, you're going to feel like an absolute Giga Chad. Even though I might not be able to convince you to pull him over others coming in the near future, I do hope that this brings a bit of a spark to enjoying the process versus just the outcome of the fight. Because for me, Banyue has now become genuinely one of the most fun units to use in the game. Thanks so much for watching, folks. And this video comes as a starkly different style and tone of my guide videos that I usually do, but I felt so inclined because of the status of the character and the perception that has grown even before he's released. Again, if you're pulling for Banyue, I hope this guide really does help you break down his kit. And if you aren't, thanks even more so at allowing me the opportunity to share my thoughts on this character. This video in particular is not part of my community's Gotcha Miss event. If you guys don't know, every like for our videos in December, you guys can donate 5 cents to charity. So make sure you guys go check out our other videos to see how to donate. Thank you so much for watching, and cheers as we are almost hitting 30K. I think we can hit it by the end of the year, realistically. It's your boy Josh, and we'll see you in the next one. Namaste.